Time for the 49ers Rush podcast.
Just coming away from last night, whose stock kind of increased? Who proved themselves that they belong on this 53-man roster after just that quick watch last night?
Well, there are a few players, but I'm going to give you one on defense, one on offense. And the one on defense, you guys probably all know who I'm going to say. That man, Drake Jackson, the freak. He absolutely blew me away. And this is the type of thing we've been seeing all throughout training camp and the joint practices as well. But to see it in a game, it just, it feels all the more better. And he was just out there, an absolute menace. A lot of back-to-back, plays where he was making an impact and, forcing the quarterback to get the ball out quickly. And those are the type of things that you want to see. To me, Drake Jackson probably deserves to get a look, not just for the 53. Obviously he's going to make the 53. Right. I would say he deserves more first team reps.
It's getting close. And, he got, I counted 28 snaps last night, 10 against the run, 18 against the pass. And this is what's crazy to me. He got 4 pressures on only 18 pass rush snaps. He had the highest true pass rush rate with the 82.1 in the game for either team. And on top of that, he had 2 solo run stops and had the highest run defensive grade of any defender for the 49ers. So we've labeled, and probably myself included, he's a pass rush specialist, but maybe not so fast. And I think, as you said, not only 53, but pushing those starter snaps. I think 28 is a good spot for him to be, whether it's preseason or regular season. That's about where I want him. Now, I've gotten asked this. I'm curious your thoughts. I don't think there's any chance he can push Sampson early in the season. I don't think the Niners really want that.
Yeah.
But if you had to guess and kind of put, a time period on this, when do you expect Drake Jackson to finally be that starter opposite of Nick Bosa, down in, down out going into the season?
I
know I never prefaced these questions, so sorry about that. I always want to see
no, it's all good. I like him a lot, and I think, yes, I guess I get the roster politics of it. Ebukam's been here, and he's also good as well. Don't want to take anything from him, but I think maybe by week 5. I would like to see it at least. I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
And I'll say this, this is a great problem for the 49ers to have, right? Because they've got so much talent everywhere. There's so many guys. But yeah, Samson Ebukam, Charles Omenihu, and Drake Jackson, those are kind of the 3 that I'm like, okay, that's starter quality players. And then you've got kind of your back end defensive ends who, no slight to them, Kamiko Toure, Jordan Willis, I might even Kerry Hyder. There's just such a plethora, to use the 3 amigos. So much talent there. Now, we got a question here, a comment. The Ag, he asked this. I asked him at joint practices this week about teaming up with Bosa. He smiled and said they are going to make quarterbacks' lives miserable. And, here's what's crazy. That one of the things that I like most about Drake Jackson, just the pick in general, is that it's a perfect situation to plug in a pass rusher. And he was asked after the game, and I cut this clip. This is Drake just talking about on what it means to be successful with this team.
Of who I'm with, my vets are probably the best vets out, And for 2, this is what I've been playing my whole life. D-line coming off the edge, and with this type of, package that they put me in, it's unbelievable. All I got to do is attack all the time. That's all I could ever wonder, or all I could ever, want.
And
it's exciting to hear, baby. I get juiced because he doesn't have to be the guy. Think about if he was drafted by, I don't know, Seattle or one of those teams. He would have to be the down in, down out starter immediately. But that's not what he has to do. He gets to come in and just learn. And he says, my vets. I like that. I like him taking possession. My vets. But yeah, so Steph, you say coming in starting week 4, week 5 around that area, he should be pushing for snaps. And if that happens, that's going to be exciting.
And to kind of justify why I think that, I mean, yeah, I think when he first got drafted, we were like, yeah, he's not going to need to do much. He'll come in those situational downs and just like he said, attack the quarterback. But one thing I would argue is that he's shown the ability to do a little bit more than that already. And I think that's what, we weren't really expecting to see him have this big of an impact this quickly. At least I didn't. I thought he'd come out a little bit more raw.
Right.
I thought he'd have some splash plays here and there, but it's almost every down where I'm seeing really good reps from him, even the ones where he's not making a direct impact on the play. Like I see things that I like. Um, he always puts his hand up at the line. If he always keeps his eyes on the quarterback. If he's not quite close to him, he's gonna get his hands up, try to uh, impact that throw. But yeah, I mean, I just think, and as you mentioned, the run stops as well. Like that's something that I don't think we were prepared for him to have an impact on so early in the season, and yet he's showing that that could be an important part of his game as well. So to me, it seems like yeah, he's learning, but he's learning quickly, I would say. And credit to the vets who are uh, putting him under their wing, and showing him the ropes. I think he's going to be a problem for this defensive or other offensive line,
Yeah.
opposing offensive lines for sure.
And, going back to playing time for him, when D'Amico was asked in a press conference about a month ago, how's Drake progressing? All he talked about was, well, he's got to learn his run fits and he's got to understand that. So it's similar to, whenever we see running backs, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, we see the rushing plays and we're just like, oh, get him in there. That's not why running backs sit the bench. They sit the bench because they can't protect the quarterback in pass pro. And the same thing with pass rushers. That's great. You can rush the passer. That's awesome. That's why we drafted you. You don't see the field until you can do your run game assignments. And that's one of the things that's most promising to me about Drake is that you can put him in. He's not a liability. I see a Big Papa. He says, in Kasarik, I trust. And